In the 10 years since my wife and I have moved to Pine Ridge, we have seen the area grow exponentially. One of our primary reasons for moving north from Pinellas County was to enjoy retirement in a more rural, nature-oriented, peaceful setting. Pine Ridge met all of these criteria. The unique nature of Pine Ridge is what drew us to this area with large lots, equestrian opportunities, rolling hills, and open spaces, which had become non-existent in Pinellas County. My goal as a Pine Ridge board member is to help maintain this community feel, respond to resident concerns, and help guide the board to maintain a fiscally sound organization. It is my belief that my experience as a cost accountant will enable me to make a contribution to that end. We represent a substantial voting bloc in Citrus County. As an active participant of the board, I will endeavor to provide input to the county on any item that would impact our community. My fiduciary responsibility as a board member would be solely to the citizens of Pine Ridge. I will protect property, maintain amenities, and support enforcement of our documents. It is my belief that these goals can be achieved without increasing annual dues. Please contact me with any questions, concerns, or issues that are important to you. I hope to meet and engage with as many leaders as possible. You can reach me by email, text, or phone. Just to be on. I am happy to discuss my goals and ideas with you directly. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Hello, everybody.
Is your mic on?
Hello, everybody. I love our Pine Ridge community, the peace, the serenity, and the breezes that blow through our trees. Most of all, I enjoy seeing the diverse quality of wildlife through our area. I am in awe of how Equestrian's community has over many years and hard work been able to enhance this one-of-a-kind natural oasis we call Pine Ridge. It's hard to ignore the incredible pastures and green areas that give us the pastoral environment that we live in. Occasionally, just take a few minutes, stop, and admire the horses as they play. I enjoy the energy of a tennis court, pickleball enthusiast, even though I'm not a player. As a longtime member of our community, I have seen good fortune to witness the spirit of helpfulness through neighbors who are willing to jump in and help at a moment's notice. I've been a member of several Pine Ridge committees, as well as chair of the ADC. I am proud to be involved in the support of our community. If I am fortunate enough to be elected to the board, I will make it my priority to listen to everybody, their concerns. When an item is on the agenda for discussion, I will research it thoroughly and not make a hasty decision. I will be available to all members in the community and ensure that you can reach me when I need it. You may be able to make an appointment with me and discuss the result on one-on-one issues if you choose. I've become quite concerned about some of our expenditures over the last few years. Some seem to be frivolous. Our current board has been working very hard in as much unnecessary spending as possible. After all, this is your money, and you should have been treated as your wallet, not my pocketbook, not my pool of money for me to jump in and spend willy-nilly. I enjoy seeing people participate in our numerous clubs, and I'm grateful that we are able to offer the few nice amenities. And the civic is well entrenched in our community, has been for a long time, and they bring a lot of resources to us. Yes, we have some high standards, but they ensure that the charm of Pine Ridge stays and helps us to be truly unique community. After all, we want to keep our little part of the state a treasured secret. I finally do not have a personal agenda. I am running to be your voice, and I hope I can count on your support and your vote. Thank you.
And this is like, it's flashbacks to being back in school doing a book report for it.
Anyway, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Tom Russell, and I'm here tonight asking for your support in re-electing Board of Directors. My wife Rachel and I purchased our home in Pine Ridge nearly 5 years ago, in full-time residence in October 2020. Since retiring from careers as an engineer, project manager, and association staffer, I've turned my attention to serving Pine Ridge members in several committee roles, and most recently and currently as a member of the Board of Directors. I served on the roads, architectural design, technical, and chaired the elections committee until announcing my candidacy for a board seat 2 years ago. This varied exposure to the workings of the association gave me a firm grounding of what's important to Pine Ridge today and in the future. The last year as a member of the board has been an experience that's been challenging, enlightening, and ultimately rewarding. Even coming into the role of experience is definitely a learning curve to become truly effective. This role requires diplomacy, fairness, professionalism, and expertise necessary for varied topics that affect our lifestyles, all while keeping an eye on the big picture. These are key attributes I've developed over decades that I promise to continue to serve you as a director with your vote. I'm going to throw some quick statistics out there to set the stage a little bit. We are currently about 75% built out, which means of the close to 5,000 home sites, we have about 3,600 right now. Collectively, as a community, I've done a little bit of math here. We're approaching about $1.8 billion worth of collective home values. That gets every time the house goes in, that grows. So we are a very important community in terms of the county. At the current rate, it's going to take about 15 years to full build out. So doing about 100 homes a year, it's not going to take very long. But during past events, we've demonstrated that the county views the Pine Ridge is definitely, of course, we take it seriously, and the board needs to support that. The reason we have an association of deed restrictions is to usually protect our property values and enjoyment of our financial and personal investments. That's easy to say as a mission statement, but sometimes it takes bold action and a stiff upper lip to live up to those words. Pine Ridge deserves leadership that will make difficult, sometimes unpopular decisions that protect us all. Tonight, I'll ask for your support and allow me to continue to stand up for you. So 2 years ago, I promoted my business story for One Pine Ridge, where we all share the success of this beautiful place. Thank you.
Hi neighbors, my name is Alexis Wilkins and I am running for the board of directors because I believe our community deserves strong leadership rooted in transparency, accountability, and consistency. As a proud, lifelong Floridian raised in Citrus County, I graduated from Citrus High School and have spent my entire life in this community. I purchased my home in Pine Ridge 5 years ago. Growing up, my family had 5 acres in Hernando where we had horses, pigs, and cows and spent a lot of time outdoors. That created my lifelong love for being outdoors, being on water, and I spend my vacations doing just that. Professionally, my career has taken me throughout the Southeast United States, and after years of traveling, I've come to truly appreciate just how special the Nature Coast is. Being local, I have a deep understanding of the area and its people, and I'm committed to preserving the quality of life we all enjoy here in Pine Ridge. I bring a fresh perspective to the board, rooted in my deep understanding of the uniqueness of the Nature Coast. Additionally, my career experience in insurance and construction has equipped me with valuable knowledge that I believe will be beneficial in addressing the needs of our association and making informed decisions for the future of our community. Much of my insurance career has been focused on the carrier side, with a particular emphasis in condo and homeowners associations. Additionally, I contributed to the permitting portal testing phase and rollout while I worked for a local builder and provided valuable feedback to them on what was working and what still needed improvement. Our last election cycle serves as a wake-up call for me to pay closer attention to this community and the decisions being made that can impact all of us as property owners. Over the last year, I have observed the issues that matter most to our community and the decisions being made by the board. After attending several monthly and special board meetings, I am more committed than ever to being a proactive part of the solution. I am running for this position because I want to ensure that we as a community are always informed and always heard. I want to be a part of a team that makes decisions with full transparency of how it will affect all of us. We deserve clear, consistent communication about what is happening within our neighborhood, and we deserve a board that is accountable to its residents.
Kevin? Who's up next?
Kevin, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, there you
Okay,
2 minutes start now.
I want to take this opportunity to introduce myself as a candidate for the Pine Ridge POA Board. Before I jump into that, I want to explain my absence tonight. It was my full intention to attend. However, an unexpected family situation came up, and in addition to that, I've been sick since the end of January and recently diagnosed with pneumonia. My name is Kevin Allen. In 2025, I will celebrate 39 years of marriage to my wonderful wife, Rhonda. We have 2 children. Our oldest daughter is Julia. She lives in Bend, Oregon, and our son, Mitchell, lives in Charlotte, North Carolina area. I retired from New York government in 2021. We moved into our RV and traveled around our beautiful country. Part of our journey was to explore where to purchase a home base. We explored various areas, but when we found Pine Ridge, we knew we had found home. We had now been in our home for more than 2 years. Why Pine Ridge? I believe our answers will be similar for many in the audience. We love the nature, beauty, peace, and serenity that our equestrian community embodies, with low annual dues and a relatively unrestricted set of POA rules and regulations. Soon after purchasing our home, we realized we needed additional storage space. We decided on a backyard shed and applied through the county and the ADC. That process was smooth and piqued my interest to join the ADC, which has been educational and rewarding. My fellow ADC members take their responsibilities of preserving our community seriously. After settling here, we started attending board meetings regularly. We sought to assess how those who had been placed in charge steward our community resources. I have been vocal at board meetings, asking questions and sharing advice. Collaboratively, more can be done working through tough issues with others that may have different perspectives. We need a cohesive board focused on keeping our community an awesome place that it is that drew us all here in the first place. Changes are coming to communities all around us in the form of commercial and residential development. Pine Ridge lots will be fully developed before we know it. The demographics of our community are changing. All of these factors have put pressure on Pine Ridge, but if we govern well and stay focused, we will remain a jewel in Citrus County and in the state of Florida. If elected, I will fully commit to doing just that. In my past experiences, I had many interactions with board members, including preparing and presenting reports to its members. I have developed and enforced and audited contracts. I have worked with the Department of Homeland Security to harden terrorist targets. I have also worked to uncover fraud, waste, and abuse within the organization. These experiences, I believe, can benefit our community. Please review my resume on the POA website. Feel free to call me or text me to discuss any question, concerns, or ideas you may have. Thank you.
Just let you know that the camera, whatever my stand is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
You said do it on there.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's funny.
There you got it.
Yeah, I think the volume of the speakers is low.
I saw the flags. One hit me in the head.
Yeah, no, I think the volume for the speakers is low. Barely coming out. You can turn his gain up.
Any better?
Kevin?
Yeah, that is better.
Kevin,
for you.
speak.
Kevin?
I can speak.
You gotta get the mic right where the speaker.
Yeah. But it's.
If I lean forward, is that better?
Yeah.
Let me turn
That's
this-
better.
Yeah, okay.
I hope everybody heard what I said.
I think the speaker's up here.
All right, things happen. I'm John DeVore, 1927 West Levante Circle. I see on all your resumes, you're concerned about fiscal responsibility and maintaining property values. We're all on the same page. There's one deed restriction that has kept Pine Ridge a beautiful place to live since its inception, and that is tree preservation. From a 25-foot no clearing limit in 1972 to a 10-foot no clearing perimeter to a limit of 30 mature trees per acre, our wooded aspect has continually declined. All studies show that tree preservation everywhere increases property values, reduces crime, cleans air and water, provides habitat, cools air temperatures, and improves mental health. 2021 referendum weakened the restrictions further, and there's been a notable increase in tree removal since. So my question to you is, what will you do to keep our property values high and to ensure that our best restrictions are upheld and enforced?
No, it's Rob. Can you hold on a second? Okay. Rob is the first person because John, you were the first person to read your introduction.
And move your microphone closer to your mouth.
Trees are very important to this community because of wildlife and because they have a whole lot of homes. If you clear them up, then you're gonna get baked into summer. One of the reasons I am in Pine Ridge is I love to see the diversity in our trees. We have several types of oak. We have a lot of palm trees, particularly a tree. But if you stop and look at all the wildlife that inhabits it, we have everything from bees to butterflies, and it's just wonderful to sit out and see them and to listen to the breezes. And if you take down a tree, I wish you'd put back two in its place. I have some trees in the yard where I just watch the wind play, and I'm really thrilled to watch it. It's very calming. We have busy lives. And I think we can all do with some downtime where we can enjoy it. Go out on the patio, drink a glass of iced tea, and just listen to what we're seeing. Because sometimes you see things, but you don't hear it. But in Pine Ridge, you can hear and see the trees. And there's a multitude of native trees that can be planted, but we haven't always done it. Thank you.
Where do you go? So the question was, what would I do to preserve the property values? That's a big question, starting with the answer of making sure that our master plan is preserved. Because we've already, as everybody here is probably aware, we've had a serious threat to that last year. So keeping that master plan and the overlays intact preserves what we all bought in here for. Regarding trees, John, that's near and dear to his heart and mine as well. I think that we need to eventually pass this increased tree regulation. Need to make sure there's enforceable and followable without unduly burdening cost for anybody. But one thing with the trees, it's not just pretty to look at. I think as an amateur weatherman, it moderates the weather up here. Because if you watch the weather radar when a big storm come in here, you can literally watch the wind and storm go right around us. That's double-edged sword. We don't get as much rain as we probably could, but that's a little more reason to preserve the trees here because they'll retain the moisture as well. We don't want the soil being washed away. So all that kind of comes into, just overall enforcing the existing deed restrictions, which is why we have them in the first place. We don't want to have unkept properties, things that detract from the enjoyment of from. So I'll be making sure that that is followed as much as possible.
Go ahead, Alexa.
As far as the deed restrictions, property values, and the trees, I feel that we need to do a better job of reviewing and enforcing the deed restrictions in general. Trees are as important as as the other ones. They're written together. And if we, with regards to the trees, that is specifically focused or aimed at new construction. So that should be attainable for hopefully for our office staff to be able to monitor these lots. And if it does not fit within their day-to-day duties, when John did his proposal, we were estimating about 10 to 12, maybe 15 hours a week. And if we can dedicate time and resources to that with our current staff, then I would love to see that happen. And I think that hopefully that would be something that we could accomplish with our staff. We already have the vehicle. And then also when we're out, we are looking at other restrictions or potential restriction violations as well.
Kevin?
Okay, I understand the question in the context of tree preservation and maintaining property values. In the context of tree preservation, obviously what we have right now is not working too well when it comes to new development and keeping the integrity of the neighborhood. There's what appears from the outside to be clear cutting and just scarring the whole neighborhood. So I think there's got to be, and I know John's been busy on this, I think there's got to be a pendulum shift to put some more restrictions on builders. But I don't want that pendulum swing to go so far to take away rights of current property owners. But I think the preservation of property values is the tree preservation is a big part of that, but that's only one part of property values. And the other part, I think that hasn't been mentioned, some things have been mentioned, but I think the other part of that is the changing dynamic of our community. I think we've got to work with the county to ensure that our roads continue to get improved. I think we got to work with the county that there's traffic violation enforcements going through our community. I think all of these things have a factor in maintaining property values. As Tom mentioned, the master plan overlay, it's important to defend that where and when we can. I think all those things lead to protecting and preserving property values.
I'm sorry, John. No, I'm sorry.
Other way.
So I am for tree preservation. I think if you cut a tree down, we can plant one. I just need to see when this is written out, how far the rules go and what's required. Are we required to have an arborist come in before we cut a tree? I'm not for that, but I am for you take a tree down, let's plant another one there. Thank you. No.
I'm Joey Belgiani, 4971 North Perry Drive. Everybody's got a nice statement about loving Pine Ridge, and I agree. It doesn't mean that much to me. My main concern is money. A lot of money being spent. See how crappy the sound system is in here? And it is crappy. Sorry to use that word. And we got an expert who knows how to fix it, Tom. And if they would just give Tom a few $1,000s to fix the system, it'd be working good. So what I'd like everybody to just tell me about your thoughts on the money we've hemorrhaged with legal fees. We know what most of them are for, in addition to other things. It seems every time there's some issue with something that has to do with the office or deed restrictions or documents committee, we got to contact the lawyer, and the lawyer just keeps racking up the bill. I want to keep it under control. I'm very concerned about it. Thanks.
I don't think anybody here is who are spending money on a willy-nilly basis or expending legal fees when we don't have to. But there are times, and we've already experienced that, when our, basically our association and our master plan, as the Mackle Brothers originally intended, come under attack. I think that the board was unanimous in making expenditures, so we have to hire an expert to go against an expert. You have the gunslinger come to town, you have to hire one gunslinger. So we paid to have an expert in land use go up against the county essentially and say, with your own rules, here's how things have to be, which is basically turning down the development. As it turns out that once that master plan is pierced and the land use is pierced, then the numerous properties in and around Pine Ridge are really up in grabs in terms of not complying with our deed restrictions. We're not talking about, how many homes per acre, what kind of homes. You want a Dollar General next door, they can do that. So once that's broken, all bets are off. So there are times when you don't want to do things, but the board was unanimous at that time in supporting hiring representation that would preserve our way of life here. So that's what we got to do. As far as the sound system, I do have some budget remaining, Joey. It's being refined as we speak, and hopefully we're gonna get better at this. I think. Can you guys all hear me out the back? Is that okay? Okay. So yeah, I think we can spend money where we do, and that's as expedient as possible.
With regards to the legal fees, it is my understanding that if we are doing anything as far as we just did the road study, the cut through and speed studies, and we had to get estimates, we had to present, it had to be presented and approved by the board. When we have done the new signs that are out at the main entrance, we get those approved, but it doesn't appear that we have a set limit of spending for legal fees. And I would like to see that as being a fiscally responsible board, that we set a limit or we have a guideline in place that we will not spend over a certain limit on with regards to whatever topic it is. Thank you.
Kevin, you're next.
Well, anybody that's attended board meetings or saw them online in the last year, I've been very vocal about the same thing that Joey brought up, and that is the seemingly open checkbook for going to lawyers for opinions and advice. And in my opinion, the board has made decisions in the past that really probably should have been less or more restrictive as far as getting legal advice. And I'll just bring up one. The recent discussion about going to lawyers for the Blue Stream contract, I think is throwing good money after bad. And we're not gonna succeed in that case. And I think that Tom has been all about that. And I think that's going to prove to be another blunder as far as spending money goes. So I would say that we just got to make some decisions on our own as a board. We got to work collaboratively to come together with a direction. And unless there's some specific statute that we think we're breaking, that we need some kind of legal advice, there's a time and place for legal advice. But I think we're running to lawyers way too often.
I don't think we should have any more money put to legal fees for Blue Street. What I think we need to do is get out of the contract if we can. Have them cancel that and we're finished and be done with that. As far as other legal fees, I think, they mentioned the golf course, there was money spent there, but I think it was spent in a good way. What it did was save the zoning for our community. It kept us as rural residential versus if we would have lost to James Dix at the BOCC, we would have been changed to RMU, which is residential mixed use. With residential mixed use, some of these properties could be divided. You could have a 7-Eleven somewhere, we would not have the same community that we have now. Hopefully this is finished, I don't think we need any more money or should put any more money to this, program. Thank you.
Okay, Rose?
We've never gotten into Blue Street. There are too many communities that if you talk to different people in the communities, they'll say, my computer doesn't work, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And we just weren't able to get enough feedback. As far as legal fees, we dropped into this big hole of $168,000 and it's not over yet. Right now, it's sitting in attorney's hands, and I think it's gonna be a case of who blinks first. There's still gonna be more money spent on it. We never owned it. We don't own it. Do we really wanna own it? I don't see that even if we turn it into a wildlife sanctuary, that we wouldn't be off the hook. You're still gonna be looking at insurance. You're gonna look at watering it. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have one for you. I'm just waiting to see how the attorneys shake this one out.
Okay, thank you for your response.
Wayne Tucker, Buckhorn Drive. You're all running for the board. God bless you. I would like each one of you to select the position that you think is the best suited for on the board, and tell us why you're best suited for that.
Hey, Judy, can you repeat that question? The mic kept on popping, so I really couldn't hear.
You really want to hear?
Yeah.
Okay. He wants to know if you were elected on the board, what position you want to be on, okay, and why. All right, Alexa,
But,
I said Alexa.
If elected to the board, I would pursue or ask to be seated as the secretary. I believe that would give me an opportunity to get into the trenches and really learn as much as I can in my first year on the board, to make myself more accessible and knowledgeable about everything that is happening and has happened in the past.
Kevin?
I believe, even with Wayne speaking and then Judy repeating, I didn't really get the question, but I think I got it from Alexis's answer. Is if I'm elected to the board, what position would I go for? Is that basically the question?
Then why?
And why? Well, I think I could just be a at-large board member, and that would be fine to contribute to the board in whatever way, shape, or form, being a newbie to the board. If the leaders on the board wanted to put me in a different position, I would do that as well. Maybe a VP or whatever. I'm willing to entertain anything that the leadership on the board would have me do. I want to contribute, and I want to work collaboratively with other board members to resolve tough issues that come before the board. Thank you.
John?
I think that background in cost accounting, I think I would prefer something in finance on the board, or something that I could help with.
Well,
I would like to be vice president. In the last year, I've made a lot of communications with county officials. And I think I would be suited well to take our issues to them, to get us answer, or bring them here to answer your questions. I think that is what we need to do. We haven't sent anybody from the commissioner unless there's somebody running for that board of the OCC. But I think we can talk to the administrators, we can talk to the supervisors, and I think I can get that job done for you. Thank you.
Now, I also not answering, be happy to serve in any capacity as I have so far. I did serve 1 year as treasurer. But depending on who else is on board, I'd be happy to let someone else do that job. I would suggest at this point that as the secretary, that he work fully engaged with communications board. So since I still have time left, I just want to answer a couple of things that came up during the last question. As far as the Blue Street was stable, hindsight's 20/20, as we all know. When we first were approached, we looked at it as competition to Spectrum, which would keep the prices down and increase the service level because it's all fiber optic throughout, so you would have much better connectivity. And as younger families come in and people work from home, having that bidirectional speed, and I do this not in fiber to the home realm professionally, so I know a little bit about this stuff. So that was the competition part of it, the technology part of it as well. As it turns out that we were a slightly unique case for Blue Stream, where we were not self-contained like some of the other communities here. That's the choice you get because the board voted for it. Now it's all going to be completely open to well, you want to sign up for it, great. If you don't have to. So as it turned out, they ended up offering something that was not what we initially asked for, and the board voted to reject that. So that's where we are today. Also, the board has recently voted to not pursue for the legal action of that. So you can decide whether that's good or not. It lowers a lot of money. As far as not running to the lawyer every time I have a question, folks need to be aware that we have some serious regulations in the state that we need to follow. We got to be very careful to follow those, especially after 2024. There are new rules in place, so we have to be very careful.
Hi, I'm Sue Wasserman, 3422 North Buckhorn Drive. My question is, basically like Donald Trump taking this position in the nation and having a list of things that he plans to do on day one. My question to you is, what's the first thing, if you're elected to the board, what's the first thing that you want to fix, and how would you go about doing that? You're up. Did you hear?
Sorry, I had to take a minute to hack. Excuse me. First thing I do on the board. Well, I think really what you want to do would wait. First thing on the board is probably you get appointed to a position on the board, which may or may not be within my control, but I would choose to accept it or not would be in my control. But I think what you're really getting is what I think is the main issue in our community as it stands today. And I don't believe that, I think the golf course thing is on a back burner. So I don't think that's the main issue today because it's on the back burner. Sorry. There's a lot of other issues going on, changes in laws and rules and regulations. But I think the most important thing to be working on day one as a new board would be working together to, as you see in the room, as I understand it, there's not a lot of community participation in what goes on. So I think we need more outreach, more community involvement, and try to get our members more engaged with what's happening, so they know what these decisions are being made by the board. I think that goes a long way. And that's just I didn't catch who asked the question, but thank you for asking.
More enforcement, but more enforcement. I'd like to see some more enforcement of reduction, and some are enforced and some don't seem to be. You know, a level across the board on that. Maybe we can get the minutes out a little bit quicker to everyone, instead of maybe within the first week, have the minutes out so everyone knows what has happened and what's going on and what's coming up to the future. Give us a little bit of time.
I would like to see time management. I think when we have something that needs to be worked on, we need to get that out as fast as we can, get the information as fast as we can, to move on to another subject. It seems sometimes that we have an item and it keeps coming back and coming back, because we haven't really cleared it. I think too, it will be an idea if every board member took one item off of the agenda that is coming up, got all the information, and then shared it. You can send an email to each other, you could print it out, give it to Gail, put it in the mailboxes. And I think things would move faster. I think sometimes we get a little slow because everybody's got something else that they're thinking about, and they don't really concentrate on the item. Thank you.
So John, I think I would have your support as secretary then, if I promise after the meeting. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we need to do here. One, you know, it's been mentioned before, I think that we need to tighten up on enforcement of the restrictions, because I think there's a lot of things that people see that don't get addressed quickly. I'd like to see meetings tightened up as much as possible, and to have many years of sharing meetings. And I've always had a firm agenda with strict time limits, and it keeps the conversation from going off the rails too much. So I look at that, but also I think coming in, you know, would be my second term. I would really like to put together a focus group of members to look at where we want to go as a community. What do you see as a vision? You know, what amenities do we need? What do we need to improve for the new folks moving in? Essentially, we have you know, waiting lists for some of the things like a paddle, the pickleball, and there's other things that, you know, you actually. You may not realize it when you come to the board meetings, but this room and the side rooms get used a lot. We do run into conflicts pretty frequently about usage, so we may want to look at expanding the facility. We want to look at rearranging some things to make it better. I'd like to spend a little bit of money on acoustic in here, because as you can tell, it's a problem. It is a challenge here because there's a lot of reflective surfaces, but there's really no place to reduce that. So I'd like to start off by asking the community where do we want to go, what do we want to look like.
The first thing that I would look to do is, being in Pine Ridge for 5 years and not really paying attention until last year. I would like to develop a way we could get more community involvement. Of course, we have, you know, less than half of the room filled tonight. The board meetings are not much different. I had actually reached out to the Pine Ridge Neighbors magazine, that I know it's a free magazine, not affiliated with the community. But I had talked with the publisher a couple weeks ago just to see if there was potentially an opportunity that we could publish something, the happenings of the board or the happenings of the community, into something like that, because I know a lot of our neighbors do not have technology. My neighbors have no idea what's going on unless I tell them these days. So I think a way to improve communication, to be able to touch more of our residents and get more community involvement, that we can be of better service to our community, would be my first priority. Thank you.
Here comes trouble.
Hello, I would love to address many of the things that you have mentioned, because I'm a current sitting board member. But I'll be frank with that at the moment. Thank you for running each one of you, is the first thing that I would like to say. And in my question deals with your beliefs on the limits of board authority. When do you think the board needs to seek a vote of the membership when making a decision? That's my question. as a board, and if at any time, do you think you need to seek the vote of the membership making a decision? So this again deals with your beliefs, the limits of what the vote. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it sounded pretty awful. Kevin, can you hear me? Kevin looks frozen up there. Well, okay. The first. Yeah.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Get my number every fortnight.
Okay, who's got the password for this? We've got it. Okay,
Did that stop when I tripped over the wire or?
I don't know. Let's see if he comes back in here.
Let's do the audio.
No, let's see.
Texted him to sign in again.
Yeah, please. We'll be right back after this brief pause for technical difficulties.
Have somebody call this is.
To be continued. For those with weak kidneys, this might be an opportunity. We're connected.
John.
Meantime, does anybody have any favorite Super Bowl commercials?
Yeah, John, the reason the minutes aren't available any quicker is because we wait until they're formally approved at the following month's board meeting. Because then they're official documents, once we vote on to approve them. That's the reason. Up until that point, they're draft, that we would not want to have people reading minutes that have not been corrected if necessary. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, he's gonna keep trying to get on
Yeah,
and
if they
he's on here, so we can put him on speaker
Okay.
and he can answer.
Okay.
Is he first? Is Kevin up first?
No, it would be John.
Who's
Kevin,
up first?
Kevin would be up last.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Did I need to re-ask the question?
Mhm.
Reread
So-
the question?
The question was.
Yeah, I'll just reread it. real
He's not
quick,
on, that's what it
Because
is.
the mic was messed up too. The context of my question deals with your beliefs on the limits, if any, of board authority that you feel are the limits of board authority. When do you think the board needs to seek a vote of the membership when making a decision, if ever? Thank you, and thanks for serving. I didn't know if everybody heard that or be willing to serve.
So I'm going to say that, I think you're saying, when do we need to have a referendum, essentially? So I'm going to say that if there's a substantial out of pocket that, community has to pay. Let me give an example of other communities that have spectrum. Everyone had to pay so much to have spectrum. I think that should be a community vote on anything like that. That should go to a referendum. I think another thing for a referendum would be a dollar value that, I'm not sure what that would be.
We do
or,
have that.
What would be, but if we had a dollar value that we're spending over that or whatever, then I think that should go to a referendum also. Thank you.
I think there should be a cap on anything that the board can spend without it going to referendum. How that is determined is up to the board and up to you, the community members. I don't think we should just jump in and keep running money to an attorney. When we first came here, we hardly ever used an attorney, but things weren't as complicated as they are now. But again, I think there should be a cap for the board, and it's got to go over that. I think we need to have input from the community. Thank you.
In the current deed restrictions, there is a limit on spending, and that's for capital expenses, not operational expenses. You do have to be careful in putting a limit on something that's an important legal issue, because you don't want your adversary to say, oh, they're going to spend X dollars, and then they're going to go away. Because you just, you know, that's like going to battle and saying, I'm only going to use 1,000 tanks, and once I use 1,000 tanks, then we're going to surrender. So you can't put a hard and fast limit on those kind of things. A referendum would take months if you could even get the question the right way. At the same time, once you do that, now you're exposing your strategy to your adversary. So with regarding legal fees, it's a little bit different. As far as, should we spend $500,000 expanding your building here? Again, that's a question you want to go to the members. Where you get to the point where you know you have to spend the money. So it's a question, it really varies case by case. And certainly, we have a spending limit now on physical issues, things we can buy as a capital improver, capital expenditure. But operationally, we have a budget. We try to go hard to stay on that budget. And if it's something of wider interest, then sure, we seek out membership opinion. We have board meetings, we have workshops, we have stay in touch, we have busy email with published, so we can always gather whatever information we need from the people who care about it.
Thanks, Maggie. I do believe that we need a budget for our spending. We provide a budget every year to our members. And if we are going to spend more than what's listed on our budget, or if we feel like we're going to go over, just like I mentioned earlier with the road study or the signs, we have to get approval to spend that money. I think that there definitely should be a cap, as I mentioned earlier, on the legal fees as well, that we need to have limits on what we can just spend without seeking the membership approval. If we were going to buy or sell any properties, I think that definitely needs to have membership approval. The legal fees going over 2 of the last 3 years, we were over budget on our legal fees. And, I feel like that might not have been, was not the best use of our dollar. And that got a lot of people fired up, myself included. Last year, it helped me become more involved. Now I'm sitting here trying to, continue that fight. So yes, I believe that we need limits, but I don't have a number in my head of a number of what there should be.
All right, so it's just basically a certain dollar amount, otherwise any other type of decision. I'm sorry, I'm adding on to it, but.
For me, anything that would exceed what we have on our budget, for example, the legal fees, a couple years ago, when we went over budget on that was not something, right,
More than 10% or something.
That should be something that membership is aware of and should have the opportunity to have a say and a vote in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kevin?
All right, Kevin, you're up.
Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me. Is that correct?
Yes.
We got you.
Okay, I just want to, I don't know that I have a lot more to say than what's already been said. I mean, you have a budget that's approved. And the budget says that you can spend X amount in operating funds. And those operating funds, I mean, you wouldn't want to say, well, you spend,
you spend $25,000 or you gotta go out for a referendum. Well, you could exceed that with, 3 months of payroll, it doesn't make sense. And as Tom pointed out, a referendum takes a long time to get approval. I think the root of the question is really, and then capital expenditures. Yeah, I think we already have things in place that if we're gonna spend X amount, then the board has to approve it. But you wouldn't necessarily want to go out for a referendum. And then you have the situation of adding new amenities, which has to be approved. That I think should go out for referendum because we don't, obviously, a couple of years ago, there isn't a mass support of a $50,000 bocce court. So, those things are in place, and I think the root of the question is really about the perceived spending recklessly maybe or carelessly when it comes to legal fees. And I think that can be resolved by getting estimates up front
30 seconds.
and being transparent as far as with the members being transparent. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, and that's what we need. We need sunlight in this situation and let people know what's going on, and tell them when we
10 seconds.
we need to spend more money. So that's all I got to say.
Mike Perry, Buckhorn Drive. My question is, as a new board member, what's your thoughts on how we use the committee system? When I first got here, the only really busy committee was the ADC. Now we have several committees. Do you think that they are an aid or a hindrance to the board?
I think that our committees find out a lot of information for us and bring it to other committees. We share the information. Sometimes I think we have too many committees because they overlap each other, and then things get a little muddy. So I think the committees that we have is enough at this point. I think that there are special venues that we have to have committees on, like PREL and PREC, the ABC, but some of them I'm not so sure if we need all the committees that we have, but that's just my thought.
I think committees are a vital part of our community here. It provides everybody an opportunity to participate, contribute to the operations of the association. It brings in fresh blood a lot of times, so we can have new ideas. As far as for those who weren't at the workshop either this morning or the time, we are trying to tighten up the expectations of the chairs and participants so that everybody knows what their role is and what the guardrails are. And just provide further information. Actually, as Sue pointed out this morning, the committees are an extension of the board. So we can't do everything. We shouldn't do everything because you need to have 5 people deciding everything in the committee. That's not participation. So I think it's an important thing that we need to promote and to encourage people to participate.
I do agree. I believe that committees are an important part of the community. I think that given clear direction for each community, if they are overlapping, perhaps we look at either merging some or maybe we are able to dissolve some. But I do agree that it allows people to serve the community in a role of their expertise or perceived expertise. I know some of our committee chairs are very, very well versed in the committees that they are on, and I wouldn't want to limit their expertise and their involvement in this community by doing away with all of our committees. I do think that they are.
Kevin, you're up next.
Okay, I think committees are important to get the important work done. But I think there can certainly, you can certainly fall in the trap of an organization of having too many committees or committees that were established for a certain goal or purpose that are still out there, that goal and purpose has long expired. And they shouldn't be, there should be a thinning, a purging of committees on a regular basis to make sure that the organization runs efficiently, and you don't have that overlapping situation of committees stepping on each other. But I do applaud the work of committee members that are out there right now, especially the ADC and the documents committee. Some of those roles are very important. That's it.
Thank you.
I think committees are a big plus. I've met a lot of great people on committees. I think it's a chance for the neighbors to come together. I think it's a good thing that the board has committees to work with.
I'm employed to Sun Terrace, and I'm sure you've been dreading me coming up here. First of all, thanks everybody for running the board. It's hard to get candidates to be involved in the community, so thank you. My question revolves around this. Being on the board is a full-time, unpaid, overworked job. There's a lot is demanded of you, and you are expected to fulfill just about every wish that a genie can provide. My question to you is this: why do you want to run for the board? Why do you want to be on the board? What do you bring to the table? And if there are things that you personally want, would you be willing to throw those aside and do what the community asks you to do?
What do I want this to? I'm starting to wonder. I personally have a service-minded personality that's been part of my life. I've volunteered and stuck my hand up when no one else would. What do I get out of it? A little bit of personal satisfaction, participating and contributing, my skills and talents to the association here. When I was working full time, there was no way that I could attend township board meetings and participate at that level. But now that my full attention is on Pine Ridge, I'm happy to do it. So, as far as what I get out of it, I'm expecting a doubling of my paycheck if I get reelected.
And it's zero.
Which is zero. But I'm happy. It's a tough job. I'm happy to do it. I think folks need to realize first of all, when people step up to be a candidate, that's a big deal. To sit up here and take the questions, good humor, and try to answer truthfully. Once you're seated, you have the whole different levels, because now you're in a hot seat. You're going to be making tough decisions that some people aren't going to like for whatever reason, and you're going to have to kind of deal with that. With respect to the people who question your motivations or why you did a certain thing, or they think you shouldn't have done it, but it's a job that I enjoy. I'm happy to, and I really appreciate the second term.
Thank you.
I have, as I stated in my opening statements, last year I lived here kind of naively. For the first 4 years that I lived here. Last year, I really was a wake-up call for me, and I decided to get involved. I felt like we were, as membership, that we were not heard. I felt like we were not well represented, and now I have no personal agenda other than I've been called to serve for my entire life, whether it's after disasters or anything. I've always been, had a servant heart. And I feel like I've been called to serve the community that I love, and would be honored to do that.
Right, Kevin, you're up.
Thanks for the question. I've been, encouraged to run and I think my experience will help, the board. I don't have any particular agenda one way or another, or a single issue candidate that, I'm all about this or all about that. I really don't care about a lot of the other things. I really just want to preserve and protect our community, the beautiful community that it is. And I want to work with the board members to make sure that that happens. So I think the one person I was talking to was encouraging me to run to the board. I said, all right, I finally said, yep, I'll do it. I said, I may regret that. And they said, well, no, you will regret it. But
Yeah, you're right.
In all seriousness, I just, I look forward to the challenge. I think it will be a challenge. As Tom said, you're going to make tough decisions. Some people aren't going to like those decisions. But I think if you're really listening to other board members and you're listening to the community, and you make the best decision you can make, that's ultimately your legacy, is that you tried to do the best for the community.
Thank you.
I have, I volunteered.
No, it's not gonna work, yeah.
Spent 10 years with food bank volunteering. Here in Pine Ridge, I love this community. I think I can be a benefit to it with my background in finance. You've seen all the talk tonight on finance, on what we spend. I think I can bring something to the table with that. I just want to reach out to our community. My fiduciary is to our citizens, to our community.
Well, I started out volunteering at Feeding America. We went from there to the sheriff's office where I did fingerprinting, child ID, and ran the Beverly Hills office on Monday mornings. From there, I decided I wanted to see what the ADC did. So I came and sat on the ADC. Then they make me a chairman. And then I have somebody approach me with the environmental group. Then somebody else approached me with some documents. It's surprising how you get educated by going from one committee or one group to another. I think I bring a lot of information to Pine Ridge, the homeowners, and we're brothers and sisters. Really, if you look at a family, brothers and sisters have a little fight, they get over it, and they come to a conclusion because they've seen both sides of that picture. And that's what I can do. I can look at both sides because I don't have a personal agenda. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
And you will be tired.
Thank you very much, Mark Sebeski. I live on North Wagon Point. There's been a lot of discussion about what the roles and responsibilities are of the directors. One of the key ones, though, is to represent the community interests, the broad community interests. What do you believe are the top 3 interests or priorities that our broad membership has that you want to represent on the as your term as a potential board of directors director?
I thought mine was tough. Alexa. Close. Alexa. Ms. Wilkins.
As far as the top three community interests, I think we've heard a lot about the spending in the golf course. We've heard a lot about the community not feeling heard. And I feel like those are probably the top three items that would be at the top of the list for me.
All right, Kevin, you're up.
Okay, top three. They're all really interrelated, but I think that the continued maintenance and upkeep of our roads, the fiscal responsibility of our decision making as far as spending resources. And I think the other top thing that is tree preservation and coming to a reasonable, workable solution in the tree preservation of our community. So those are the top three. Thank you.
I think, the top three is protecting property, maintaining our amenities, and also, support the enforcement of our regulations.
I think one of the main things that we should do is protect our home values by keeping us in what I call luxury estate style, and we are. I think also that we need to watch how our money is spent, but I also need the support from the community. I see the board struggle sometimes because they don't get enough input. Maybe we need to go knock on a few neighbors' doors and get them out and come and say, hey, listen to what's going on. It only takes a few minutes. Even if you came through that door and spent 10 minutes, that's 10 minutes that's really important to the board members. Thank you.
Regarding being heard, take my word for it, we hear everything, and everything is taken into consideration. I'll take a second here just to answer a couple here that came up. Regarding budget, the budget is an expectation based on history and what we think is going to happen in the coming year. A couple of years ago, when we went over budget on legal, we also went over budget bigly on insurance. Our policy went up something like $45,000. I don't know if we should want to consider going to the community and ask them if we should carry insurance based on that. So again, that's one of those tough dealings that the board has to contend with. During the top three, yeah, I think our number one goal, in fact, the reason we have associations is to protect our home values, and that means protecting the land that we have, protecting the environment, and public safety. There's a big issue with people speeding through here. I've been passed multiple times by people on a double yellow line going 60 miles an hour. I mean, I lock my cruise control right at the speed limit, but I see people blow the tailgate, people pass me, and sometimes they have lights on top of their cars. So I think those are the three things that we're looking at going forward.
Do we have any other questions? Anyone else would like to speak? You can have a second question. Going once, going twice, come on. No problem. All right.
You got a question?
Do I have a question or not particularly? Okay, you can.
Don't feel obligated.
Yeah.
It's not a requirement.
Oh, you want to go home and all
I thought we were done.
that?
So close, so close.
Wayne Toth, Buckhorn Drive. I've heard, I think, everyone say that they would further involve the community. Specifically, what do you have in mind to accomplish that?
Yes, how do we get people to come here for Meet the Candidates? How do we get people to come for town hall meetings? How do we get the people to do this and to do that, so that we know that they live here?
Door
That's
prize.
that's part of, wait, the question.
Okay, he's.
All right, Kevin, you're up first.
Wow, I thought Judy already said going once, twice, 3 times.
Well,
Nobody told Wayne.
Nobody told Wayne, okay. I think the best way, to involve the community to some degree is to reach out to them more. And I think the one way to do that is just to, talk to your neighbors. And I'm saying that from not only a board perspective, but all those that are in the group here and all those that come to board meetings regularly. And I know Joey does a great job with his committee, civic organization, anywhere that it can be plugged. That we have these meetings and it'd be in your best interest to get involved in them. Are avenues to pursue. And like I said, some of those already exist. You have a welcoming thing. Maybe that's got to be done more often. I think that's part of Joey's gig. But I think board members should be involved in reaching out to the community. So that's what I have on that topic.
I would reach out to our neighbors, the community, and try to get more people involved, whether it's, to come to the meetings or, on a committee especially. But, we need to reach out more to our neighbors and bring them in. That's outside of 3 beer night. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Doesn't hurt.
I think one of the things we could do is try and help Civic out to get more participation. And by getting a participation through Civic, we would then get people into maybe these meetings. A good instance is when we did the horse show a little while ago. Look how many people came out for that. And I was surprised to see when we went down to the paddock to have a look, we had to wait in line to come through. So that was an opening. I think that's a good starting place. The other thing is to call your neighbors and say, oh, did you know this was on the agenda? Let's go see what we can find out. But we don't get too busy and we forget to do those sort of things. So maybe just a couple of minutes and we could do that. There was a time when I would come into this room and they would actually count the number of people and have to stop it because the fire marshal would come in and shut us totally down. Let's try and get back to this. I think it would be a good thing. Not everything has to be done early in the morning or late at night, but let's start someplace. Thank you.
Well, I think going forward, let's maybe start attracting the newcomers because they're, I guess, more open. They're coming here, and like myself, we came here, didn't know so, got involved, met a couple of people, and I think, we have a social network here. So I think that engaging new folks that come in here is going to be a big part of that. I've heard of and talked to people that didn't know there was an election going on and here for 20 years. I've also come across people that didn't even know this facility existed. So somehow we're not doing a good job of letting people know that we hear what we do. I think we do the what do you call it? Trunk or treat, and we have the open house for newcomers. But I think maybe we can do a better job of that. Winter festival. So we have a great facility here. Let's make the most of it, and to let people know that they can come monthly and listen to the board drone on about some boring issues that we have to contend with. So that's my answer to that.
I agree with talking to the neighbors. I mentioned earlier that some of my neighbors would have no idea if I didn't talk to them. I also mentioned the Pine Ridge magazine, which I think could be a good opportunity for us to reach more members. I think that in coming to the monthly board meetings, I see a lot of people that have just moved into the community and they're not getting the emails from us, or maybe they're going to spam. So it's, again, just kind of trying to talk to people. I've been at the gym talking to people and they say, we don't get the emails, we have no idea what's going on. So making sure that people get signed up, because we do have to sign up on through the state systems, through Gail and the staff here to be able to get the emails. So make sure that we're doing that. And then we also have a group on Nextdoor, the app, social media app, that we have a lot of engagement. We've got a little over 500 members in that. And so, you know, as long as we can push the information out, talk to people and, you know, kind of entice them, try to entice them to come in more and get involved.
Have we considered blackmail?
Any more questions? Okay, then, if you want to break for a few moments, or do you want to just start your summary? Summary, going. Alexis, summary? Okay. then-
Actually, no, it goes back to the top. John is first on summary. Because
Okay.
Kevin started this talk.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure to meet with all of you this evening. I look forward to getting to know more of you in coming months. I hope listening to my opening statements and my response to your many questions has given you a sense of who I am and my desire to keep Pine Ridge a beautiful, unique neighborhood it has always been and will hopefully continue to be in the future. Please feel free to contact me with any concerns you have and how I can be of assistance to you. Thank you for coming and listening. Even if you have to listen to my raspy voice, thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank the election committee for all their hard work, and I especially want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here. Over the last few hours, we have heard candidates ask you for an opportunity to be seated on the board. We all have reasons for wanting to serve. However, I've lived here for 19 years, owned property for 27 years. I've seen a lot of things in that time, some really good, others not so much. I believe I have the experience and the knowledge to be a positive benefit to Pine Ridge. We need to be careful in the way we move forward because we don't want to jeopardize anything we have by making hasty and sometimes careless decisions. I have said it before, I will take the time to talk with homeowners, will hear their concerns, everybody's opinion matters. My votes will be based on what the community needs and not take it like which has been done previously. I fully expect to put in many long hours performing this duty. Remember, I want to be your voice. I look forward to meeting you, and I hope you have earned, and I hope I have earned your support. Once again, if you want to talk to me, you can. If you want to meet me, I'll meet you out by the picnic grounds, in here or in the office. The choice is yours. Thank you for listening to me.
Well, as you folks have hopefully heard tonight, that the serving as a board member is a serious business. This is a corporation. It's not a club. It's not a party. There are times when discretion is paramount. There are times when openness is the best way to do it, and being able to make that discernment, I think, is a big part of the job. As a community and association, we're at a critical time in our history. Demographics are changing. As you look around, you see a lot more younger families moving in, but some serious issues remain unsettled. My estimation, we've never been in a position to answer the challenges for mutual benefit. We've heard from all the candidates tonight. I ask you to consider who will be the best for the coming year. Who has a track record of taking our governing documents seriously? Who's demonstrated acting legally and professionally? Who will exercise discretion always, but especially when necessary to protect our position? As a community, what affects one neighbor affects us all. Don't be mistaken, that what you don't see will not affect all of us eventually. As a director, my focus will be to continue defending us against threats to the value and peaceful enjoyment of our homes. I'll actively work to strengthen our visibility within the county's political leadership so that we aren't constantly recipient of adverse actions. We collectively have a strong political voice and we need to exercise it. As such, we need a long-term strategic plan for our community. We need to start making things happen instead of watching it happen. So, again, thanks for taking your time to hear my message and vision for One Pine Ridge, and I would greatly appreciate your vote and support.
Thank you again for your time and attention this evening. It has been an honor to share my thoughts with you. As I mentioned earlier, I have spent my life here in Citrus County in 5 years now in Pine Ridge. I know firsthand the incredible value of this community, from the beauty of our landscapes to the friendliness of our neighbors. It is these things that drew me here, and they are what I want to help preserve for the future. Pine Ridge is a place where we can all be proud of our homes and the quality of life we enjoy. But to keep it that way, we need leadership that listens, acts with integrity, and makes decisions with your best interest in mind. I am running because I believe in the power of community, and I believe that we deserve a board that will prioritize transparency, accountability, and consistency. I want to bring a fresh perspective to the board, ensuring that we not only preserve what makes Pine Ridge special, but also adapt and evolve to meet the needs of our growing community. It is about ensuring that Pine Ridge remains a place where we can all live comfortably, knowing that our board is working together diligently on our behalf. As someone who has been actively involved in the insurance and construction industries, I know how important it is to approach challenges with a practical, well-informed mindset. I am committed to applying that expertise to ensure that our community's resources are used wisely and efficiently, whether it's navigating regulatory issues, keeping our neighborhoods safe, or improving our amenities. I will bring that focus and knowledge to the table. But more than anything, I am here because I care. I care about this community, and I care about making sure that Pine Ridge remains a great place to live, not just for us, but for future generations too. Together, I am confident that we can make steady progress in the right direction. In closing, I am asking for your trust and your vote. With your support, we can build a stronger, more transparent community, one where every voice is valued and every decision is made with care. Thank you for considering me as your candidate for the board of directors. I would be honored to serve you and work together to continue making Pine Ridge the wonderful place we all call home. Thank you.
All right, and Kevin, you're up.
Sure, I'm the one keeping everybody from their pajamas. It's getting late. Well, first I want to thank the election committee for all their efforts to put this meeting together. What an awesome job, especially being remote here. And I want to thank all of you in the audience for your time and your thoughtful questions. I'll just repeat that I love the nature, the natural beauty, the peace, the serenity of our equestrian, that our equestrian community embodies, with low annual dues and a relatively unrestricted set of POA regulations. Collaboratively, if elected, I will work with the board and community members and those outside of our community, the county and state, if necessary, to settle tough issues where perspectives may be at odds, to land on reasonable solutions. We need a cohesive board, focus, not everybody thinking the same way. If that's the case, 4 or 5 would become unnecessary. We need a collaborative board, a cohesive board, focused on keeping our community the awesome place that it is that drew us all here in the first place. Pine Ridge, if we govern well and stay focused, will remain the jewel in Citrus County and the state of Florida. If elected, I would be fully committed to doing just that. And I covet your support and running for the board. I really appreciate your thoughtful consideration of my candidacy and your vote. I appreciate it much. Feel free to call or text me to discuss any questions, concerns, or ideas you may have. And I appreciate your time. Good night.
One of the things that I want to say is I'm really amazed about how everybody was quiet
Because this is the first time that I've been the chair where I didn't have to have somebody go. And then somebody's there. Okay, I mean,
Oh, sure, now you say it.
I'm just letting you know. But people didn't get up and start talking and talking and talking, and then they got to the question. And this went a lot faster. Okay, we had only imagined that we would have 4 questions tonight because we had the original opening with read the candidates. We had quite a number of questions. I'm really happy. I just wish that more of you asked questions, but come the next time on the 20th and ask questions, okay? So I want to thank everybody very much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.